In Peru, the number of people killed in the repression of nationwide demonstrations demanding general elections and a new constitution rises to 25. Also, Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko met in Minsk with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to discuss economic cooperation. And South Africa's ruling party, the African National Congress, re-elects the incumbent president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, as the head of this political party for the next 5 years. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. And now we begin with the news. In Peru, the number of people killed in the repression of nationwide demonstrations demanding general elections and a new constitution rises to 25. The Health Ministry, in its most recent bulletin, said that of the 25 deaths, 9 were reported in the department of Ayacucho, 6 in Apurimac, 3 in Cusco, 3 in Junin, 3 in La Libertad, and 1 in Arequipa. Peru has been experiencing a period of social protests since last September 7th, when the Congress appointed Dina Boluarte as president of the country after dismissing the head of state, Pedro Castillo, who is in preventive prison, accused of the presumed crime of rebellion. On Sunday, 26 Peruvian farmers were released after being in police custody for 14 hours. The agricultural workers were arbitrarily detained by law enforcement, who raided the Farmers' Confederation's headquarters and set free without charge. The released farmers were welcomed by a crowd that stayed outside the premises of the Confederation, where they were being held in demand of their freedom. Peruvian National Police claimed that in the framework of the state of emergency, slingshots, machetes, banners, and publicity or propaganda alluding to the demonstrations were found inside the premises. However, the farmers denounced that the objects were planted with the purpose of justifying the harassment. They also denounced that police officers prevented their lawyers from entering the headquarters. In Brazil, a strike of pilots and flight attendants causes delays in dozens of flights on Monday morning. According to the administrator of Guarulhos International Airport, 19 flights were delayed throughout the morning, mainly at the airports of Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and Brasilia, although there were no cancellations. According to local media, the strike took place between 6 and 0 a.m. in the morning, and further protest actions are expected to take place in the next few days. Pilots and other airline employees demand better working conditions, recovery of inflationary losses, and renewal of the collective bargaining agreement. In Cuba, the 10th Congress of the National Federation of University Students takes place with the objective of contributing with new proposals for the construction of society. The activities of the Congress, that will gather 300 delegates and guests in the capital until next December 20th, began with a welcoming ceremony for the participating delegations on Saturday at the central headquarters of the University of Havana. Local media reported that the plenary session for the nomination of deputies to the National Assembly of People's Power was a genuine exercise of democracy. Likewise, debates will be held to address issues related to teaching, research, and university extension. In the United States, at least 36 people were injured as a result of severe turbulence that affected a flight from Phoenix to Honolulu in what Hawaiian Airlines described as a unusual and isolated event. Through its social Twitter network, Hawaiian Airlines detailed that flight HA-35 faced severe turbulence shortly before landing in Honolulu. The plane was carrying 278 passengers and 10 crew members. The airline also reported that 20 of the 36 injured had to be taken to hospital, of which 11 were classified as serious. The company stated that it will support all passengers and employees affected, while noting that a thorough inspection of the aircraft is being carried out before it is put back into service.
We just got off of our flight, inter-island flight from Maui to Oahu, and it was probably the most turbulent flight we've ever been on. We travel a lot. We weren't necessarily nervous anything was going to happen, but the turbulence was really, really rocky. We were more nervous we were going to throw up and get sick.
Now we move on to other topics. On Sunday, Ecuador's Geophysical Institute reported that steam and gas emissions from the Cotopaxi volcano reached 1 kilometer in height. The institution warned that the cloud was moving in a southwesterly direction towards the Ecuadorian coast and consisted mostly of gas and very low ash load. Also this Sunday, the institute registered a tremor signal of internal vibration of about 20 minutes of duration, which was accompanied by another emission cloud with this time 500 meters high. Despite both events, no ash fall was reported in sectors near the volcano. Since October 22nd, the National Service of Risk and Emergency Management of Ecuador issued a yellow alert for the area of influence of this volcano and urged the territorial administrations and the population to be alert. Let's take a short break, but first, remember you can follow us on our TikTok account at TeleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. At the invitation of member of the Political Bureau of the Chinese Communist Party's Central Committee, State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi, the Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs, Penny Wong, will pay a visit to China from December 20th and 21st.
First, this year marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Australia. During the visit, State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi will hold talks with Foreign Minister Penny Wong and together hold a new round of China-Australia diplomatic and strategic dialogue. We hope Foreign Minister Penny Wong's visit will help the two sides further implement the important consensus reached by the leaders of our two countries during their meeting in Bali. Take the 50th anniversary of China-Australia diplomatic ties as an opportunity, uphold the principle of respecting each other, pursuing mutual benefit and win-win results, and seeking common grounds while resolving differences. Enhance dialogue, expand cooperation, manage differences well, so as to bring China-Australia relations back to the right track for sustainable development.
The Russian Defense Ministry on Monday confirmed that vessels of the Russian Pacific Fleet have left their base for joint Russian-Chinese naval exercises. The exercises are due to be held from December 21st through 27th in the East China Sea. According to the ministry, the Russian Navy will be represented by the Pacific Fleet flagship missile cruiser Varyag, one frigate, two corvettes, as well as marine aircrafts and helicopters. China is sending two destroyers, two patrol ships, a replenishment ship, and a submarine to the drills. The main goal of the exercise is to strengthen naval cooperation between the two countries and to maintain peace and stability in the Asia-Pacific region. Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko met in Minsk with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to discuss economic cooperation. The two leaders discussed energy prices and security in the region, among other global issues such as finance and the international trade. Putin and Lukashenko also discussed key aspects of their partnership in the fields of transport, access to state tenders, and consumer protection within the Eurasian Economic Union. The leaders also discussed topics such as currency policy, financial regulation, common principles of deposit insurance, and the fight against money laundering. The Serbian government warned of risks of escalating tensions over its nationals living in northern Kosovo. The Prime Minister of Serbia, Ana Brnabić, accused the government of Kosovo of systematically violating the human rights of the Kosovo Serbs. She also pointed out that the European Union and the United States have not taken any action towards the demonstrations blocking the roads. Serbian security forces believe that the situation may lead to an armed conflict. They stated their ability to maintain peace and stability in the nation, but did not share the same concept for those Serbs living in Kosovo. In France, at least 227 people were arrested during the clashes that followed the ending of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. After the defeat to France, several clashes took place between the fans and police forces, leaving at least 227 arrests. The Ministry of the Interior stated that 50 of the detentions were made in the Champs-Élysées in Paris, while the rest took place in cities such as Lyon, Bordeaux, Nice, and Béziers. During the clash, the individuals threw shells at the police, who had organized an important preventive deployment with 14,000 agents nationwide. In France, the government said on Sunday it had ended months of tensions over a visa dispute with Algeria, just days after Paris and Rabat made a similar announcement. French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin, and on a visit to the capital Algiers, announced a return to normal consular relationships with Algeria. In September 2021, Paris reduced visa quotas to Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia in order to encourage the countries to cooperate against irregular migration. The move sparked widespread public anger after French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna said Friday Paris had returned to full consular cooperation with Morocco on Sunday. Gérald Darmanin emphasized the extremely strong relationship that exists between Paris and Algiers. And we have more news coming up after a final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back. Thailand's military deployed warships and helicopters on Monday to try to locate 33 Marines missing after a corvette sank overnight in rough waters in the Gulf of Thailand. 3 Navy vessels and 2 helicopters were sent to find the missing Marines after the HTMS Sukhothai warship suffered an engine malfunction and went down just before midnight, about 20 nautical miles off the coast. The Navy stated that overnight rescue mission in bad weather rescued 73 of the 106 people aboard, with remaining 33 forced to abandon the ship. The Sukhothai, and corvette in use since 1987, was hit by strong waves, forcing it to tilt to one side before becoming flooded with seawater. On Sunday, the Tunisian Electoral Authority announced that turnout for Saturday's parliamentary elections stood at only 8.8%. Despite the low turnout, the lowest in any poll since the revolution in 2011, the president of the Electoral Authority described the process as clean due to the lack of political financing and vote buying. Opposition groups boycotted the election, describing it as part of a coup against democracy. The main opposition alliance called on the president to bring all political forces together for consultations. The election took place almost a year and a half after Sayed deployed military vehicles to suspend parliament, following months of political deadlock. In July, President Sayed used a referendum to push through a new constitution, virtually stripping parliament of any real power. Preliminary results are expected on Monday. In Iraq, at least 9 federal police officers were killed on Sunday in an attack attributed to jihadist members of Islamic State group against a truck that was transporting them in the north of the country. According to local authorities, the attack against the unit was launched with an explosive device and direct burst of small weapons of fire near the village of Salal al-Mutar, located on the outskirts of the city of Kirkuk. Police sources reported that the incident, the officers managed to shoot down one attacker, and 2 were wounded in the exchange of bullets, and reiterated that they are searching for other attackers who fled. This happens in the context of a sustained violence in this territory after the Islamic State conquered several territories of the country in 2014. In Uganda, authorities announced the end of Ebola confinement after the outbreak affected 2 of the nation's districts. Through a press release, Vice President Jessica Alupo informed that the biosanitary restrictions decreed by President Yoweri Museveni 2 months ago in Mubende and Kazanda districts will end since cases at the virus epicenter are decreasing. The official also pointed out that from September to this day, the national health system has recorded 142 infections and 56 deaths from the disease. In this sense, the vice president announced that the first batch of anti-Ebola candidate vaccines arrived in the country to advance in the mitigation measures against the virus. The African National Congress Party of South Africa, the ANC, re-elects the current president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, as president of this political party for the next 5 years. With 2,476 votes, Ramaphosa surpassed the former health minister Zweli Mkhize, who obtained 1,897 votes. In addition, the attendees elected Paul Mashatile as vice president of the political organization, with 2,178 votes. The newly elected leaders, who make up the so-called top 7 of the ANC, will lead the destiny of the group until the 56th National Conference in 5 years. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.